That that is such a hike, a quick one. Gets your heart rate really going. Ah, so but get into one foot. Try to keep the knee slightly bent as you're rolling the foot forward, and also try to keep your toes spread apart. So if you've got the toe correctors on, I know a few of you wear them. That's going to help you as well. Make sure that baby toe is also trying to spread away from the rest of the foot. Oh yeah. And what we're going to do some things like we did last week with our feet. So we're going to stop here and put the heel down so that the ball is under the widest part of your foot. And then step back and bend that knee and lean into it. Now keep your abdominal muscles nice and firm, and then start to go side to side, rolling under that widest part of your foot. Don't go too fast because you want to try to get into the tissue between the bones. And that's kind of what Jane was talking about, where she had the stem cell. They do that in your feet too, and you can get those injected into the tissue between the webbing there of the toes. And so do just a few more times and stop if you want to in one area, just to really spread those bones. Okay. And then step away and just kind of pick up toes, move them around, kind of just see if they're all moving nicely. And then we're going to go to the other foot. Now, this other foot has lately for me been tighter, and I'm not quite sure why. It's usually been the other one, but today and last week too, it's the left one. So work into those tight areas, keeping the knee slightly bent, using your breath, spreading toes, especially when the foot's moving forward. There we go. Then drop your heel and step back with the other leg and bend this knee more deeply, and try to really press into the ball as you roll, just the front of the foot side to side. The heel stays down. If there's places that are extra tight, and for me it's under the big toe mound, stay there a little bit and just try to allow it to open. We get a lot, especially if you're in shoes a lot, you just tend to get really tight in this area. And then let's come away again and go ahead and pick up those toes, roll them around, wiggle them. You can do your fingers too. I always tend to do my fingers as well. All right, now we're going to do that thing where we're going to take this ball. So it could be your tennis ball, and I'm going to turn backwards, and I'm going to put the ball just under the ankle bones. Okay, my feet are together as close as they can be, and I've caught the ball just under the ankle bones. This ball doesn't touch the floor quite, and that's okay. And then go ahead and pick up all your toes and spread them and put them down. So you want to stand really tall, and you want to be kind of grabbing that ball equally with your feet, the inner edges, and then start to come up onto toes as equally as you can. And I've got my arms up, and then come back down and do that again. Try to lift up, use every single toe, and back down. We tend to wiggle into the outer edges of your feet. Don't do that. We're going to try to also activate your butt muscles equally. This little exercise is amazing for things like plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis, but also getting the activation of your pelvic floor and your butt muscles. Now we're going to try to stay up. Try to stay up, looking forward. You're squeezing that ball. You're in all of your toes. And then come back down. Whoa. Okay. Woohoo. And so then grab that ball with your hands, and let's go ahead and work with our hands, right? Yes, the hands are a big deal. I do a lot of pottery. I work with a lot of clay these days, and I feel it. I can feel it in my hands. So go ahead and spread your fingers as best as you can and try to get into the webbing. And of course, you can focus on one hand for a while and then the other or both. Try to stand as equally as possible while you're doing this. And then try to just work at that lower part of the palm just before it touches the wrist. Right in there. Yeah. And then the other side. For me, it's my right hand, but that's where my dominance is, where there's a lot of tightness in there. Yeah. And then come back to center. So I've got my feet more further apart, and then I'm going to clasp this ball right there at the palms. And on an inhale, reach up, elbows come towards each other. On the exhale, open the elbows and bend deeply. And then inhale, come right back up. And as you exhale and come down, you're bending the knees, you're kind of leaning forward, and inhale up and stretch. And we'll do this a few more times. Keep pressing into that ball. We're actually activating all the way around the shoulder girdle. Last time. And then come right back to center. And let's do those circles. Try to let your head be free. Oh yeah, lots of white noise in my neck. And then other direction. And release. And let's just kind of roll those arms back a few times. Okay, and then we're going to put this ball down, kind of put it out of the way, and we're going to try, and so you have your block if you need it, okay? We're going to try to come down to knees with your toes curled under. So see, I've got my toes curled under, I'm on my knees, and I'm going to try to sit back onto my heels. If that is too much, take your block on its highest end and sit on it, okay? So try to give that a try. You might need to get more cushion under your knees. So now, if your baby toe has rolled under the other toes, roll it back out, use your fingers, and try to sit right down into those toes. And then on an inhale, come up onto knees. And as you exhale, come right back down as equally as you can. We tend to favor one foot. Let's do that again. Reach up. If you have bunions, this is so good for adjusting the feet. Come back down. And one more time, lift way up and come back down. Now, this next one is a little more challenging. So I'm going to start by being on all fours. And I've still got my toes curled under. My feet are apart and my knees are apart about 6-8 inches. Now watch me first. I'm going to come back, use my hands, push to feet flat and come to stand. And then I'm going to come back down, hands down, and come back to sitting onto heels. You can also use a block or a chair in front of you to use that to help you get up. Here we go. Push, come up. Come back down, use your block or chair if you need, and sit into heels. Once again, push back to feet flat, come straight up, and come back down. This is also for those knees, and sit into heels. We have one more time if you have chosen to do this with me. Push, come back up, and then come right back down. Sit into heels. Oh yeah. And then come off. And I'm on all fours. And I'm just going to kind of rotate my ankles. That feels so good. Wiggle my toes. Oh, yeah. I'm getting all kinds of clicks now. And then just drop your feet. And let's take about 4 or 5 cat cows. The exhale rounds. And the inhale reaches. And really notice where you might feel stuck in your spine. For many of us, it's right there between the shoulder blades. And let's take one more time. And then come to sitting onto your butts or onto a lift. So I'm going to use a little lift, just a little one, a little half kind of foam, and sit nice and tall. And just take a moment. If your knees are bothering you, you could put rolls underneath them. Yeah. And let's take our palms together. So I don't know about you, but I am feeling so much energy in the bottom of my feet and in my ankles. And that's what you want. You want to really wake up your legs, wake up your lower legs. And then let's take an inhale and reach up high. And again, inhale up high. And one more time. And just a moment of reflection. We're in this week of high holidays, right? High holidays across the world. We just finished Easter. We're still in all of that really sacred time this week. We've got Passover and also Ramadan. It's such an important time to really try to bring in peace. And I know that's a challenge right now. And then let's lean back and release those legs and push out those feet bottoms. Yeah. And every time you push out one feet bottom, try to straighten the knee and try to pull the toes towards your face. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to come off my lift, see what you need to do. And I'm going to sit with my feet really wide, facing you all. I'm going to lean back with a straight spine though, and begin windshield wipers. So we're just beginning now to open our hips. We started with our feet, our ankles, we got into the knees. So don't try to push the knee down to the mat unless it wants to go there. Okay, later on it will more easily. And let's just do a couple more times. This is one of the easiest ways to really open the hips and bring more energy up into the body, up higher into the body. And then come back to center. I'm going to turn sideways. Okay. One hand under each knee as you exhale, round back. And as you inhale, reach forward. And really feel, continue your own pace. Really feel the sense of the torso creating this kind of undulation going back and then forward. Well, the shoulders do the opposite from the torso. Let's do one more time. And then cross your legs again. All right. We're going to take our left hand to our left knee, same side knee. And then take your right fingers behind you and push them down into the mat or a block and roll that right shoulder open. Really roll it open. Then roll your left shoulder open so that you're squeezing your shoulder blades behind you. It's an open chest twist. We hardly ever do it, but it's so good. So very good for the upper chest. Nice deep breaths into your torso. If your neck allows, turn your head to look back behind you. And release. Oh yeah. And let's go to the other side. Right hand, right knee, left hand behind you. Roll both shoulders back as though they could squeeze a ball between them behind you so that you're really lifted and rotated. And hold here breathing. So for those of you who have maybe been sitting at a computer a lot, this is so good. This is the opposite. This really will help shoulder issues and chest issues. And one more breath. And then come back. All right, let's get those legs out in front of us. Release your knees. Walk those ankles and feet. All right. And we're going to do a table pose. Our first pose in this little set is going to be a table pose, but then you'll have an option to do reverse plank. Okay, so plant those palms, and here we go. Lift up to table, hold and breathe. Same idea. Try to really open the upper chest. Push through your heels a little bit more. And then come back down and rest. Just rest your head. This is such a wonderful time of year to be out in nature, to just really listen to all those baby birds, and the flowers are everywhere. It's so beautiful. Okay, so now we're getting ready for reverse plank, or else do another table. If you're doing the plank, you've got your legs tightly together. Plant those hands, and here we go. Lift up. So as you're lifting up, you need to lightly contract your butt muscles. Reach your throat towards the ceiling. Try to bring your big toes towards each other. And come back down. And again, just let your head drop. So important when we're opening this front of the body that we take a little bit more time to rest between the poses. Because it's not something we naturally do, unfortunately, especially in our stressful times. Okay, let's do it again. Last time, reverse plank, spread your toes. Here we go. Come on up. Hold there and breathe. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Try to touch the edges of the big toes together. Try to reach up the throat. And come back down and just lean yourself forward. Just allowing that easy breath to fill in here. That feels so good. Okay, I'm gonna come back to sitting facing you. I'm gonna drop my right knee down. So you can see I've got my right leg in front here, bent at the knee, and then my left leg is back. Okay, and you can have it back at a slight or have it back really deeply. It's totally up to you. Now there's another modification that some of you might want to do, or it's an advancement, where you take this right foot and you put it up on the thigh. Okay, so only if you feel happy in your knee. So that's another advancement should you want to. But we're all going to take our left hand over to the right knee and take the back of the hand and try to kind of put it at the top of that knee, and then open up towards the right. So it's the princely pose, Bharata Vajrasana, the prince. Nice deep breaths here. Your right hand is behind you and it's pushing down into the mat. And release, and let's take that leg out. Let's take both legs forward. Again, release those knees. All right. So we have a lot of rotations today, as you've probably guessed. And let's go to the other side. So now I've got my right leg back and I've got this leg in front. Now you don't have to put the foot up, but I'm just showing should you want to. And if your knee is happy, you'll put this foot up onto the upper thigh. Then turn towards your left, take the back of the right hand and kind of hook it at that left knee and begin to turn your torso. It's the torso that's lengthening upwards and rotating to the left. So the princely pose, so the prince is trying to sit really tall here. The Bharata Vajrasana, I love that name. Trying to really open the chest. And let that go. Take those legs out. That can be a real challenge. Release those knees, and we're heading right into boat pose. Your choice. Open up. There you all go. Good. Yeah. Lift up that whole chest. Lift it up. Press it forward. Breathing here. Eyes are trying to relax. And rest. Just let that head drop. Okay, coming back upright, feet really wide again, at least as wide as your mat. And let's do those windshield wipers now. You might feel a little more ease. I do. Okay. And we're going to do just a couple more. And now drop the knees to your left. Work the feet in closer. We're getting into our dolphin diving. We're going to take the torso right over that left knee. And here we go. Exhale, skim the knee. Inhale, come back up. Every time you exhale, you're really pulling in your navel center in order to really get that roundedness of your spine. And let's do a few more. And here's our last one. And then come up, but stay at this diagonal over the leg, holding there, breathing. You could choose to stay here or walk yourself further over. You can lay your chest right onto that left leg, that left knee, and support your head with your hands or your forehead all the way down, and hold here and breathe. So remember, your left hip is down, your right hip is lifted a bit. And then come back up. We're not done. Okay. We're going to lean into our left palm, lean in there, right hand, right hip, and then lift your right knee and right foot. Okay. Now you could skip this part. Okay. Now straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. If you can, right arm comes straight up. And let's do 3 more. That's it. And then take it down. Woohoo! And let's bring those legs again into windshield wipers. Oh yeah. So that opened up more in that left hip for me. And then let's drop to the right, and we'll do the same thing. I'm going to just adjust myself in case you need to have a look. Okay. You're going to turn your whole torso over that right leg and begin. The exhale skims down. The inhale reaches up, like you're working in the water here, like a dolphin. We didn't see any dolphins. They're probably down in the warmer waters of Mexico. Let's take 3 more here. Here you're also really working with your belly muscles. Now you're coming into the last one. Come up, you're leaning. You could stay here or start to take yourself down to resting, dropping down, letting go. Don't hold your breath here. Breathe into that hip joint. Then come back up, lean into your right palm, left hand, left hip, and let's lift that left knee and ankle. Oh yeah. Okay. Straighten and bend. And if you want to lift the arm, go ahead, continue here. Don't go too fast. You want to feel the ability of this leg to do this. 1 more time. And then come back up. And let's take those legs and let's do those windshield wipers again and see if you've got more release, especially in the back of the hip. There we go. Come back to center. I'm going to turn sideways and boat pose. Really try to open up those arms. Really try to lengthen up. That looks good. Hold there and breathe. Some of you can even straighten those knees a little bit more. as you get stronger in the belly. And rest. Just kind of let that head go. Just rest. Because we're getting ready for Upavista Konasana, and that's wide leg, seated wide leg. Okay, so I'm going to turn back to facing y'all. I'm going to take legs nice and wide, but you want to make sure your kneecaps are facing up. That's important. You could even scoot your butt cheeks out from behind. You could take an edge of a blanket under your butt to help to tip the pelvis. So there's different cool ideas. You could have your block ready like I do. I have in front of me. Now, trying to keep toes spread, toes towards face. Try to lean forward, just part way, and breathe. The leaning forward is not rounding. You're trying to stay straight. So you can see how I'm using my block. I've got my forearms on my block. I'm taking long breaths here. You can feel the stretches and the working on the inner and outer legs. And then come a little more forward, just a little more if you can. I'm going to move my block because I'm going to start to walk my torso over to the left leg. It's okay if the right hip lifts a little bit. Okay, so if that happens, it's okay. And then see if you can come down a little bit more. Here you can round your upper back a bit. And then if you want to turn into a rotation, the right arm can be straight up or it can be over the side of the head. A really nice deep stretch. Breathing here. Let's take one more nice deep breath. Remember, no matter the depth that you are going, you are getting what you need here. Come back part way up, unrotate, derotate, and come right back down over that left leg. Oh, yeah. And then start to walk yourself forward again. I'm going to bring my block back in place, but I've got it now on its lowest edge, and I'm going to lean into it. Double check your legs, breathing here. Now, if you've got super tight hammies, please keep your knees slightly bent. And then let's walk to the other side. So this is a really slow pose, right? A slow, easy flow here. Because you never want to go fast when you're working with inner thighs. You want to go slow. This is actually really helping to tone, to create that plasticity of the pelvic floor. And then if you want to rotate, go ahead. Advance it or modify as much as you want. De-rotate and come right back over that leg. Oh, yeah. Then try to stay low and come right back to center. You might not need the block, or you might. Please do what you need. So for me, I've gotten my forearms down now, and I'm just breathing. Some of you can actually touch your chest down, your forehead. I cannot, and I don't force myself because I'm breathing equally into my pelvic floor. Especially as we age, we want to make sure that our pelvic floor maintains good tone and also is released from tightness. So those are two different things. And then come back up. Oh. And let's get those hands under each knee and slowly walk it back in. Oh, yeah. We're not done here, though. We're going to move right into a boat pose. Yes, that's the third one. The third one today. Hold here. It should feel really good. Those that want to take an even deeper one, take your palms together, extend your index fingers, try to reach your feet. And release. Resting your head once again. Mm. Okay, from here, drop the left leg. Bring in the right heel. Try to bring it in really close to your butt, but slightly out. Okay, so slightly to the outer edge there. And then let's move into our rotation to the right. You can use the hand around that knee. I love to do that. Or you can put your elbow on the outside of the knee. And I'm demonstrating that for just a moment to show you. I don't do that too often. Actually, it has a proportion thing. If you've got a longer upper body, that'll be easier for you to do. Now, a couple more breaths, see if you can go even deeper. And then come back out. Not done on this side. We're going to take our hands under that foot or that ankle and lift up just the lower leg. So I've got the thigh right at my chest and I'm pulling shoulders back. And then if you can, work to straighten in the knee, little increments at a time, lifting elbows, lifting elbows. Oh yeah, some of you can tuck the chin and take forehead to knee. And as you release, bend that knee and take the foot over the other leg. We're heading into half cow pose. Okay, so you know your modifications. You could keep that foot on the same side if you need to. All right, so I've got my half cow in place as best as I can. I'm going to clasp around the upper knee. And now roll those shoulders back and down. Really get them down so your chest lifts. Pull the elbows in towards your body and straighten that spine. Take an inhale. And on an exhale, bend just the elbows to lay the torso down right over that knee. You can stay here. You could move those hands to the ankle or the foot of the left leg. And come back up. And let's take that leg out and release knees and ankles and toes, whatever else needs to be released. And then take a reverse plank or a table when you're ready. Yeah, there you go. Good. And come back down. And I'm sure all of you are noticing right now how you're breathing more deeply. So awesome. So let's take the left heel in as deep as you can. I'm sitting up really tall here. And then I'm going to use my arm around the left leg, but you could also put the elbow, whatever feels best, and move to your rotation. So if you've got a belly, go ahead and kind of get your hand in there and pull that belly through to the back, so to the left, so that you can get an even deeper rotation. Nice deep breaths. Activate that right leg as well. Try to go a tiny bit deeper. And come back out. Whew. Let's take our hand under that foot and lift just the lower leg. Okay, so that's a little tricky for people. You're pulling the thigh into your chest. Okay, shoulders pull back strongly. Then, if you want to, you can start to straighten that knee in little increments. And you can get your elbows up higher and maybe tuck the chin and forehead to knee. And release, and we'll take it over, moving to our half cow, other side. Oh yeah. So for me, this side already, I can feel like I want to be even in my hips, but I tend to roll to one side a little. So really get that right as best as you can. Go ahead and clasp around the knee, pull up that torso, pull it up nice and tall. And with a straight spine, start to lay over the leg. And you can round towards the end and then decide where your hands are going and go into a deeper pose. Half cow flow here. And come back up. It's like delicious, right? And let's release again. Oh yeah, that feels so good. And yes, we are going into another reverse plank. I'm just getting myself ready here. Okay, and here we go. You should feel more opening in that upper chest, making it just easier to do this pose. And release back down. We're going to swing those knees behind us or our legs behind us, come to all fours. So now you have another option as to how we're going to come up to standing. You could come up to standing any way you want, but if you want to do it like we did earlier, you got your feet apart, your knees apart, your toes curled under, you're going to push back till your feet are flat and come up to standing. Yeah, all right. Awesome. And then let's just move these bodies a little bit. That's good to see. Okay, that feels so good. Okay. So we're getting ready to move into a stork sequence, but we're going to start it like this. So we're going to, in a moment, so just watch me, we're going to lift the right knee and take your right arm up and behind and your left arm behind and up. So maybe they touch behind and then put it down, and then it'll be the left and put it down. So we're going to be doing this. So go ahead and do this with me. It can be your own pace. It's a big march, meaning you're lifting that knee high and you're trying to keep your torso super straight. So for me, I can touch my fingers just about when my right arm's up, but not when the left arm is, because I've had some shoulder issues. So we're adding a lot of energy to the shoulder area right now to really get that nice and smooth. And let's just do 2 more. I'm staying really tall every time I lift a knee. And then release and just stand with your palms facing forward and breathing. Depending on what's going on in your shoulders and your neck, you can have so much tightness in there that you don't realize how cemented in you are. And we want to try to change that. Now move into your left leg and move to a stork pose, big arms. Yes, holding there. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, bring that foot down, come to center. And now inhale, other side. We're going slow here. Try to open the arms back a little bit. Breathing here. Then take a deep inhale. Exhale, come to center. Other side. Now we're going to go a little faster. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open your upper chest. Exhale, close. The abdominal muscles are working here, lifting up, coming down. Every time you lift a leg, we're moving into a very important form of balance here. So important for walking, for preventing falls. And we have 2 more. Here's our 1. And come down. And the other. And come back to center, palms right there at heart center, standing nice and tall. Anywhere you want to be on your mat, just standing there nice and tall. Now, lean into that left leg, make it strong. Come to stork again. Take an inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, take the bent knee back, just enough. Open the arms a little bit. Now you can stay here or keep reaching that leg back behind you and reaching your torso forward. Adjust the right hip down a little bit and then bring it right back forward and down. Palms together. Rest your shoulders. Other side. Move into the right leg, strong leg, open to stork. Inhale, lift those arms. Exhale, bent knee back just enough. You could stay here breathing or start to push the leg back more, moving into the deeper pose. Drop the left hip a little bit and come back through and back down, palms together. Rest your shoulders. We have one more set like that. I'm going to actually turn sideways in case you need to see it like that. And here we go. Move into the left leg, open to stork. Just breathe here. Then inhale, arms up. Exhale, push the bent knee back. Just hold there breathing. Now, abs in strong. Try to come a little deeper. Those of you that go even deeper, go ahead. Otherwise, just have the courage to go a little deeper. And then come back through and back, palms together. Nice deep breaths again. Let's go to the other side. This yoga class is about so many dynamics here. Take the inhale, arms up. Exhale, push that knee back. And then as you're ready, go a little bit more. It could be a teeny bit. Work it with the belly, work it with the strong leg. And then start to bring it back through. Whoa. And back down, palms together. Try to just let the shoulders drop. Let them drop back though. They're dropping back a little bit. And then let that go and just move a little bit. Ooh, okay. So you know the pose, you know the set, but when we slow it down like that, it's more for muscle building. And seriously, as we age, we need to build more muscle. They actually say that for women, after age 40, less aerobics and more muscle building, like smaller weights, but lots of reps in that. That's really interesting. Okay, so let's come up to the fronts of our mats. Feet apart for your comfort, taking those palms together. So when I wear my toe correctors with a yoga practice, I just right away feel like I've arranged my feet the right way. So I have to remember to keep them at my mat. And then take an inhale and lift up tall. And as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come part way up and stretch. And then as you exhale, drop deep. Now, drop your hips back behind you and come up to chair. Pull those shoulders back. You decide how deep you're going here. Try not to crunch your toes. Then come up a little bit and open the arms and stand tall. Right back to heart. Take an inhale and lift up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come part way up. Really stretch your spine here. And as you exhale and drop the hips next. Come back up to chair. Get yourself really equal in your legs, holding there, breathing. Come up a little bit more. I know it's work. Reach up the arms. Now this time, come up onto toes. Do your best, even just for a moment. Stretch up and back to heart. So as we move past this amazing full moon, like so many amazing things, it's a time of new beginnings. It's the time of new beginnings. I love that. Take an inhale and reach up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come part way up, stretch. And then as you exhale and drop deeply, first the torso, now the hips. Now work your way to that chair pose. Yes, pull your shoulders back. There you go. Nice. Try to stay low. Pull the navel in. Now come up a tiny bit and open the arms. Now we're going to try to go up right up onto toes. Reach up, and right back down. And just take a moment here with chin slightly tucked, but chest is lifted. Just take a moment. Pose of humility, it's often called. So the time of new beginnings is special, right? The springtime, but it means we have to also let go of some of the old stuff, the old stuff that holds us back. That's the tricky part. So for this next set, we're moving into tree pose. You can stay right where you're at, or you could come off, see what you need, or come to your chair or your wall. Find your tree, really stabilize that standing leg and your foot. Feel that foot nice and stable. Find a place where you want your arms. Your drishti is forward and slightly down. Hold here. In order to begin anew, we have to slay, right? We have to release. We have to bury, let go, burn, all of those different concepts, the stuff that's holding us back. Nice deep breaths. We even change our diets. We take in more fluids. We do all kinds of things to shift. And then come back. The ancient people knew that you change yourself with the seasons. We get stuck as modern humans. We get stuck. And let's go to the other side. This is the time of year to have dandelion greens. And I'm sure some of you know about that. Remember that, especially you Midwesterners, right? We had our dandelion greens with balsamic vinegar. Find your pose. So I've been having roasted dandelion tea every morning. Nice deep breaths. Find your drishti. And release. Standing nice and tall. Finding that breath all the way down through this body. Come right back to the front of your mats. Okay. And here we go. Take that inhale and lift up tall. And as you exhale, forward fold. Should feel smoother. Inhale, come part way up. Should feel lengthened. As you exhale, drop down, take right leg back. There's our first lunge. Find that lunge so perfectly for you. Nice deep breaths here. We're going to move through a little flow here. We're going to take our right palm down, open up the left chest, the left arm, tuck the chin, and turn the head to the left. Now, don't let that right leg kind of fold in. Let it be nice and strong. And come right back. Come right back to that lunge pose. We're going to drop the knee, release the toes, and on your next exhale, take it back to that half split. Remember that front knee does not have to straighten. Pull the hip socket back. Let your head go, breathing here. Those who want a little more juice, walk your fingers further forward, really stretching the mid back. And then come all the way back forward, lift both arms up, have them nice and wide. Those new beginnings, they begin with the opening of a new day, right? We welcome the sun. It's an ancient ritual, so ancient. From here, we're going to turn to our left and find a rotation. So we're going to stay here for 5 breaths, okay? So those that want to advance this pose can lift the back knee if you want. You can take a bind if you want. You can open arms up, see what feels good for you, but really focus at the center, the navel center. 2 more breaths. Turn your head to look down. Come back to lunge. Everybody lift that back knee again. And then on an exhale, step back forward. Take that inhale part way up. And as you exhale, drop deep, let the head go, and then drop the hips behind you. Let's come to another chair pose. Can you come a little deeper, but torso's lifted. Come a little higher, open those arms. We're going to try that toe stand again. Take an inhale into it. and back to heart space. Okay, here we go. Take that inhale and lift. Exhale, forward fold. Next inhale, come partway up, stretch. And now as you exhale and drop, take your left leg back. Find that really nice lunge here. Try to really strengthen that back leg. Then press your left palm down, open chest, open right arm. Turn your head if you can. Nice deep breaths here, whole body active. So you want to try to find the calmness right in the center of the intensity. And come back to that lunge, put the knee down, take your time, coming back to Ardha Hanuman. Oh yeah, this side for me is a little tighter and I'm honoring that. I'm taking my time with it. I'm working my fingers forward. Find the calmness right in the center. And then on the inhale, come back forward, lift those arms up, open up. Oh, it feels so good. Really reaching, really opening. And then taking the openness and rotating it to your right. Now, find your nice rotated pose here. If you want to advance it, you can lift that back knee, you decide. Two more breaths. Turn your head to look down, come back to that lunge, lift that back knee if it was down, holding there, breathing. We're gonna take right leg back, the dreaded plank. Okay, plank is easier if your feet are apart, so you decide. Hold here and breathe. Try to lightly grip, lightly contract your glutes. That will get you deep in the belly. Hold a little bit longer. And then take your knees down and bring yourself back to a relaxed child pose. Just relax. Maybe shrug a couple times, see what you need to let that go. So the process of calming the body is also the process of healing the body. That goes together. It's ancient knowledge in Ayurveda, and it's called rasa. It's regaining the juice of the body. Now on an inhale, come right up to knee stand, really stretch up. And then as you exhale, plant those palms, curl toes under. Next exhale, downward facing dog. Everybody enter this pose with super bent knees. Broaden your chest, tip up your sits bones, then start to walk your dog. Straighten one knee and then the other. Let your head go. Really work the heel towards the mat. No sharp pain. Definitely stretching the calf muscles. They get so tight. Now come back into your downward dog, whatever you want it to be. And then inhale to plank. Hold and breathe. Everybody put the knees down and come back again to a relaxed child pose. Just let go. Ask yourself, what does it take to let go? For me, I have to kind of jiggle my shoulders a little bit. I have to kind of know where they are in time and space. And then I can let them go. Once again, activate the belly. And on an inhale, come right up to knees. And on the exhale to all fours. And this time, next exhale, you're rounding, cat pose, and then inhale, cow pose. So cat cows, do a few more. Don't do them too fast. Do them slowly and thoroughly. because we're getting ready for thread the needle with the right arm, but we're going to just do one more of these cat cows. So I want your whole body to feel juicy today. Take your right arm on the inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, slide it through. And then once again, 3 more times, in fact, on your own. The third time, you're going to settle yourself into the pose. That feels so good to lift my arm. Once settled, you're going to decide what you're doing, okay? Are you going to take your left arm straight up? You're going to take it behind with a bent elbow. Some of you take it way to the front of the mat and really reach those fingers. That feels so good. See what feels good for you. Would you like to advance the pose, lifting the left knee, maybe the left whole leg? Don't struggle. This isn't a struggle. We're looking for the calmness in the center of the intensity. So some people say, well, I've got to get away from everything in order to heal. Not necessarily. You just have to make time to do some of these practices. And then come back out step by step, all the way out and back to all fours. Before we go any further, hands as wide as the mat, hands at least in hand's length forward, come up onto fingertips and pull back now to an extended child pose. Of course, it's ideal, right? If you could just get away, like there was an offer to go to India to do a cleanse for a couple weeks, and I would have loved to jump on that. But by the time I got there, I'd be so wrangled by all the craziness of the world that I decided it'd be better just to cleanse here at home. And then come back to all fours. Woohoo. Other side, here we go. Inhale, open. Exhale, slide it through. 3 more times. Really lead with the arm and the shoulder. What does it need to find that sense of stretch and opening? The shoulders, like the hips, can hold so much trauma. Now, when you come in, stay there, find your place. You're on the edge of the head. You're on the side edge of the shoulder. And then start to advance your pose should you want to. Stay in the calmness that's deep in the center of the intensity. And then start to come out step by step, no rush. Take your time. Come back to all fours, but this time widen up your knees. So my knees are even wider than the mat. Get those big toes to touch. And everybody try to push your butt back to your heels. So if you have a peek at me, you'll see but my chest is up, okay? I'm on my palms, which are ahead of me, and my fingers are super widely spread. And I'm just breathing down to the pelvic floor. Now, if you want to go deeper, come to forearms. Same idea. You're trying to keep the chest reaching forward. And then those who want to come deeper, move the elbows wide and drop the chest down and the forehead or the chin. I usually drop my forehead down because I'm so careful and mindful with my neck. Take 2 more breaths right down to the pelvic floor. And then bring yourselves up to sitting onto heels for just a moment. We're going to bring our knees more forward. We're going to reach our fingers backwards and plant them down and come up to a very modified camel pose. And once again, either drop back into what we just did, or some of you can drop your hips right between the feet. Only if your knees stay down. Your knees can be super wide apart, but your knees have to stay down. And then maybe you can make your way forward and down, keeping the knees down, dropping down carefully, dropping down. And bring yourselves back up and come to all fours and downward facing dog. That should feel very yummy. Bring your feet closer together in this dog and lift your right leg straight back. If you want to go deeper, bend the knee, open the hip. And then put that foot down and let's do the other side. Lift the leg straight back. And if you want to come deeper, bend the knee and open the hip. And then bring that leg down. Now listen to my instructions. Widen your feet as wide as the mat. Bend your knees. Walk your hands back until your feet are flat and put one hand on each knee. And if you have a peek at me, you'll see I'm lifting my chest, but I'm staying in a pretty deep pose, though I'm a little bit above my hips. Stay right there, reach your chest. Then those who can and want to give it a try, come to a deep squat. Make sure your feet are adjusted so that you're not crunching toes and you're not overly dropping arches. Lean forward, one hand each knee, come up to standing. Woohoo! And let's move around. What a great way to start a Monday, right? It's just like, yes, 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 yes. So we did some wonderful, luxurious yoga every day while we were in La Jolla. We had a nice little Airbnb with enough room. Sometimes there isn't enough room. And it just felt so good to take a long practice other than the days that I teach. Usually my practice is shorter. All right. We're going to come into another tree pose. What will that be for you? Where will it be? Okay. What do you need? Do you want to adjust it and try for a half lotus or a pistol like we did last week? It'll be your choice. I'm going to come onto the wooden floor and I'm going to attempt a half lotus. So before I do that, I really lift up my knee and make sure the hips way open. So find whatever pose you're going to try. If you are trying to half lotus, you can see how I'm holding my foot with my hand just to make sure I've got the right alignment. Soften those eyes, whatever tree pose you're in, soften in, but also strengthen in. That's that resilience work. If you can, lift your arms up. You don't have to. And then we'll come out. Try to stand right where you are. We want to bring in that essence of the pose, what it just did for us. We want to take our time with that. Okay, other side, whatever you're going for, right? The yoga practice gets beyond the ego. It really does. At some point, it's just what will feel good? What is my body asking for? Where can I direct energy? Those are some of the questions. Just the last couple breaths. And release. Standing nice and tall. Palms are facing forward. It's a stand of openness, okay? It's a stand of evenness. And then let's just move a little bit. Okay, so you also have to remember during this really transitional time to make sure you're drinking enough fluid. So I usually will have 2 quarts in the morning before I even get to my practices, and I have them warm. So I have warm water, and I put a tiny bit of lemon in, and then I'll have 2 more quarts at other times in the day, but I don't go into the evening. I'll have everything in before 3 o'clock. Okay, let's come back up to the fronts of our mats. And that's my practice. It has been that for a long time for my hydration, for my tissues. Take your palms together. And on an inhale, lift up so tall. And as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale, part way up and stretch. And then as you exhale, drop the torso, right leg back. Here we are in that lunge pose. This time, turn your back foot and place it flat and take yourself to side angle pose. Take your time getting there. Try to find the depth and then reach the arm up. So you could stay here. We have 5 breaths. Or you could bring that arm overhead. You could bind. You could take both arms into a really wide open. So see what feels good. When I started hydrating more deeply to my gallon a day of water, and I use ball jars to help keep me in practice, and then I don't use plastic, it really shifted how my hair feels, how my skin feels, my eyes. It's so interesting. Now, on an inhale, come up with the torso, and on the exhale, drop into warrior 2. Really reach through those arms. Let the shoulders kind of roll back a little bit. And then take it to reverse warrior. So we haven't done the reverse in a while. So you can find the traditional pose, or you could advance it by straightening the front knee. And then take it back to that warrior 2, turn the torso, plant the palms, turn that back leg. There's your lunge pose, and take it to plank. There's that dreaded plank. Hold it. Hold it not with your jaw, but hold it with your navel center. Push the heels back. Take a deep inhale. Either knees come down first or come straight down, all the way down. And then next inhale, come up to a high cobra if you can, or keep it low. And on the exhale, drop it down. Adjust yourself again. And here we go. Inhale to cobra. Exhale down. Really taste this pose again. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Holding there. Elbows are pulling back. And then release by tucking the chin and pull the hips back and relax the arms into a child pose. Breathe up and down the spine. Now start to activate the belly. Inhale right up to knee stand. Reach up, reach it up. Exhale to all fours. And next exhale is that downward facing dog. Really move into this pose and broaden your chest. Find the breath here. Now, soften both knees quite a bit and step the right foot forward. There's the hardest part of everything we're doing today, those stepping forwards. They really are for me. Okay, we're going to turn the back foot and place it flat. Come to your side angle pose. You know, you could use a chair as well for this pose. Use what will help benefit you in finding the positive effects of this pose. We have about 3 more breaths. Check in with the back foot, just in the mind's eye. Don't look at it, but check in with it from inside. And then here we go. Inhale, lift the torso. exhale. Virabhadra 2. Okay, the strong warrior. Just because we're working on calmness and self-work here doesn't mean we're not awake to everything else around us. And then drop into reverse warrior. We can be true warriors. We can be she-bears taking care of the world. I really believe it's going to take women to clean up all of this mess and then come back in again to that warrior 2. But this time turn, plant the palms, take it to plank. We're not going to hold here long though. We're going to take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, come all the way down. And this time prepare for Shalabhasana and inhale, lift upper and lower. Exhale down. 3 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. When you get to the last one, try to hold up. Release down. Rest in crocodile pose. Maybe glide your hips a little. Nice deep breaths. To be a true warrior, you have to be clear though. You have to be focused. Plant those palms and push yourself back to child pose. Rest the elbows. Activate the belly. Inhale, come up to knee stand. Really, really, really stretch up. Now exhale a prostration. I'm putting these in here. And then inhale up again. We have 3 more. So slow exhale to get down. 2 more. Your last one. Come to all fours. Oh yeah. Take 1 or 2 cat-cows. That's your integration. And then curl those toes under. Downward facing dog. Find the full pose here. Start to widen your hands at least as wide as the mat, and then bring your feet as wide as the mat and really find the pose here. Tuck your chin. Left hand to right outer ankle. An inverted rotation. Carefully come back. Other side. Carefully come back. Listen to my instructions. Turn your feet outwards. Keep them wide. Walk your hands back till feet are flat and come into your squat. If you can do it very deep again, go ahead, or otherwise stay above it. Yeah. Then everybody tip forward a little bit, hands on knees, and come up to standing. Oh, you should be at the backs of your mats or near there. But let's just stand for a moment here. Feet are at maybe 4 to 6 inches apart. Palms are forward. Even close your eyes if that feels good. Find the center. Feel how there's so much energy radiating out. And then opening eyes, we're going to take palms together right there at heart center. So we're getting ready for balancing stick, Virabhadra 3. Okay. So here we go. We're going to take an inhale, arms up, step the right foot forward, plant that leg, hold there breathing. Try to launch the back leg a little bit, light back bend, and then start to come into your pose. It could be a teeny bit, it could be a whole lot. Keep slightly dropping the left hip to even out the sacrum. Breathe here. And then step back, reach up, hands to heart. Find that wonderful breath. Let it just stream through this body. Okay, here we go. Other side. Take an inhale, step that left leg right there. Here's where you find all the parameters. The arms are lifted. Try to launch the leg a tiny bit, slight back bend. Now start to bend just at that hip joint. You're reaching arms and torso. You're reaching that leg behind you, adjusting the hip. Use the breath. And step back, reach up, hands to heart. This time we tuck the chin and just breathe. And then let's just move around a little bit, okay? We've been challenging ourselves this morning. I had said in my email, dynamic, very dynamic today, really working on that sense of building resilience. It's what we've been working on for years, right? But really working on it right now. I've been thinking a whole lot about the concept of rasa, or that juiciness. And as we age, we want to really try to access it at a deeper level. Oh yeah, roll those shoulders, fling out those fingers a little bit, release those knees a little bit. Okay, then find yourself anywhere you want to be on your mat. I'm right here. I'm on this really cool chakra mat. So cool. And I actually have my feet. It's really fascinating. I have my feet right at the third chakra. And that's right where I want them, actually, because that's the chakra of self-empowerment. That's the chakra of really knowing who you are. Okay, I've got my legs together. I'm getting ready for half moon pose. So take that inhale, reach up arms, clasp. And on several exhales, let's go side to side. So if your shoulders are bothering you, you could keep your arms down by your sides. You know that. Okay, so see what feels best. Then everybody inhale really up nice and tall. And as you exhale, take the torso to the left, push out the right hip, roll open the right chest. Try to reach, breathing here. Try to come a little deeper. And then inhale back up nice and tall. Exhale, other side, other side. Roll open that left chest. Try to drop a little deeper. And then inhale, come up really tall. Now slow motion. Exhale, release those shoulders, those elbows, those wrists, fingers. I'm going to widen up my legs. You're going to decide how wide to go. And I'm going to actually show it to you from the side here. And in a moment, watch what I do first. I'm going to slightly bend my knees, but not a whole lot. And I'm going to bend right here at the groin. So I'm pushing my butt back. And then I'm going to drop my torso down and just hang my torso, holding opposite elbows. So come to that if you can. Okay, if it feels okay. Oh, yeah. You could straighten your knees here if your back allows, or you could bend them more deeply. But I want you to let your head feel really heavy, especially the back of the neck. Let it stretch. And then holding opposite elbows, pull them down lightly towards the mat. And you can sway a little bit. Get out of your toes. You should be in the full foot. And then everybody release those elbows, hands on knees, drop the hips, and come to a chair pose. And then take hands to hips and come up to standing. And we're just gonna move a little bit more here. All right. So we did this last week. We're getting ready for dancer pose. And I loved watching everybody and how focused you all were. Okay. So remember, you could have the wall as for your hand, or you could have the back of the chair, which I'll have here in case you want to watch that. And getting ready for your dancer. My left leg is going to be my standing leg. I don't right away jump into the full pose. In fact, I like to just have this nice straight up pose. If you feel ready, you can certainly kick the foot into the hand and start to tip. If you're using a chair, you can have your forearm on the chair. If you're at a wall, remember, don't look down, you're looking forward. In fact, everybody should be looking forward. Stay a little bit longer. And come out. Ooh. And just standing. For me, that just accesses so much of my lung tissue. So important. Okay. Other side whenever you're ready. It is a back bend. And so remember, you're not just letting your belly drop, you're actually keeping tone in the belly. And that protects the back. If you got a chair, you're hanging on to it. If you're at a wall, you're trying to go a little deeper. And come out. Whoa. Reach up and release those arms. And once again, just stand, palms facing forward, feet a little wider apart. I was reading this passage the other day about finding the guru, right? Finding your teacher, and that changes throughout life. And the real guru is life. It's actually life. Some people just move around saying, I got to find this physical teacher, but just knowing that every day, every experience is a form of the guru sharing with you. So now we're going to come down all the way down to sitting, if you can, all the way down, any way you can, right? And then have your bolster or your thickly rolled blanket nearby. And we're gonna hold on to knees and bring ourselves all the way down. Once down, we're hugging and rock a little bit. And it's not necessarily that every instance in the day is sharing something that you're supposed to do or be, but it might be sharing what you don't want to be as well, right? And we're going to take ourselves into a happy baby pose of your choice. And release. And then we're going to take ourselves into, and I'm going to use a block between my knees, you don't have to, into a revolved belly pose, dropping bent knees to the left, head to the right. Oh yeah, that feels so good. And you could also straighten those knees, right, if you want to. Working that shoulder down towards the floor, and you might notice that it's going down a little more easily because we did a lot of opening today, a lot of opening work. And come back to center. Other side. What they call the finishing poses, the final poses you choose to do in your practice are called the finishing poses. and come back to center. Oh. Plant your feet, release that block if you're using it. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So I'm going to bring myself to the side to come up, and I'm going to take my bolster to just at my butt. So I'm actually not sitting on it, but it's near my butt. Okay, so I'm sitting on the mat. And then I'm going to drop down and I'm going to lengthen the back of my neck. Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to keep my elbows slightly bent and attempt to drop my arms right down to the floor. If that doesn't feel good, they can come closer to your side. I've got my feet bottoms together and my knees bent and drop down. So find your pose. Remember, if your knees are bothering you, you could always put a block under each knee, or you could just keep your feet flat on the floor and super wide. And once you get into this pose, maybe lightly turn your head side to side. Oh, it feels so good. Remember, you don't want to feel numbness or tingling. So if you are in the shoulder, you're going to take your arms a little further down, closer towards your hips. You might feel more tension in one chest area than the other. Breathe into it. We're in a safe space. We're actually in our own homes, which makes it even feel safer. A pose like this is so good for calming and bringing in rasa, bringing in that sense of juiciness. Now, if you want to, you certainly could stay here for final relaxation. You really could. You could even take your arms just further down to let them relax more. You could drop the legs, whatever you want. Or you could roll off to one side, move the bolster out of the way, maybe put it under your knees. That's what I like to do, put the bolster under my knees. And then come into final relaxation. Ah. When you find your final relaxation, find it, meaning spread yourself on the floor, like open those shoulders, drop them down. Feel the whole back body just taking up some space. Let your eyes drift closed. Bring your awareness right down to your feet, your ankles, your lower legs, and your knees, and just let go. Your thighs and your hips, your sacrum and your low back. Let it go. Your rib cage, your shoulder blades, your arm bones, your hands, your heavy head, releasing now. And do a simple body scan and ask yourself where you might still be holding on and see if you can let that go. Just a few more breaths here, a few more breaths. And then start to bring yourself back. Knowing you can come back to this, right? You can come back to this at any time you want to today. Stretching a little, moving a little, lengthening. Just like your favorite animal. And when you're ready, rolling to one side and coming up quietly trying to keep eyes closed. We're going to take palms down on our legs or knees, palms down. It's actually a Buddhist mudra to circulate the energy inward. The things to work with, those things to work with to bring us to new beginnings, patience and compassion, perseverance and honesty, letting go so that the classroom of life can come in more fully. And then let's take our palms together. Taking an exhale. Inhale. Oh. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Namaste, Namaste to each and every one of you. So good to see all of